Hey mamas, welcome to another episode of Confessions of a Small Biz Mama. My name is Kristen Ingram and I am a small biz mama. So today I want to talk a little bit about how to schedule more fun this season. And it's a lot easier than you think. So I know lots of you right now are thinking about summer. Your kids are getting out of school soon if they're not out already. And you're looking to put more fun in your summers, right? I know every single year I have these grand plans that we are going to do more than we did last year. I'm not going to work as much. I'm not going to get caught up in all of the crap around the house, and we're going to have more fun. And then what happens is September comes and I go, where did summer go? Oh no, I missed it again. Right? Does this ever happen to you? This can't just be me. I know it can't just be me. And so I came up with this really simple technique to schedule more fun into our summers and into our life in general. Okay. So here's the thing. You can do this. You can do this for summer. You can do this for like the month of June or the month of July if you want. Whatever, you might just want to do this for a week at a time. It depends on how much you like planning. It depends on, how much change you're trying to generate. But you can really do this at any time. Like you can do this at the holidays. If you're worried about, working too much or getting caught up in things that really aren't important. And you could just do this for your weekly schedule, right? This is how I do my ideal week. When I'm doing that exercise, and I redo my ideal week anytime that there's like a shift in my life or my schedule. So I was telling the folks in bookkeeper training school on one of our coaching calls, I was saying that usually I was redoing my schedule 3 times a year. I would do my summer schedule, a fall schedule, and a spring schedule. And that's just because when I was teaching at the university, my schedule changed every single semester. And my commitments, right, and the things, my must-dos changed. And so I would kind of have 3 different schedules throughout the year. You might just be like in a funk and you might say, I need to change things up. This isn't working for me anymore. Then change it. Change your schedule around. So let's talk about how you do this. Okay. So I want you to start off with a blank calendar. Okay. So, and if you don't have a blank calendar, you can actually go to passionplanner.com, and she has a whole bunch of templates that you can print out. There's a weekly template you can print out. There's a monthly template you can print out. She has some beautiful, beautiful planners if you're looking for a planner. And it's cool because you can get them. She sells blank planners as well, which is really, really cool. So I think a lot of people are like, oh, I can't start a new plan because, it's not January, or it's not the beginning of a quarter, or it's not whatever. Lots of people sell blank planners. Passion Planner's one. Michael Hyatt's Full Focus Planner is another one that you can get blank, which is pretty awesome. And so I really, really like that. So don't think like, oh, I can't, start new big things because it's not January. Well, that's just nonsense. If you need a planner to go with it, just get a blank one. Okay. And you can check out, if you don't remember the names, you can go to smallbizmama.com and look up episode 60. Okay. This is episode 60. So you can look up the episode and find those resources. Okay. So you need to start with a blank calendar. Okay. And the reason you need to start with a blank calendar is because you need places to write all this down. Okay. If you do not put things on your calendar, you're not going to get them done. Okay, it's really that simple. It's funny because we've seen in bookkeeper training school, the people that go through and get the course finished and get clients and do all the things, they are ones that put on their calendar when they were going to work in their business. And part of working their business was getting through the course, right? And so if you want things to be important, you have to schedule them. Okay, it's really important. Now, if you want, you can also do this digitally, and you can clear out you can clear out your Google Calendar except for the must do's, and we're going to talk about those in a second. But you need something blank-ish to start with, okay? Because the problem is we pile all this stuff onto our calendars. And one of the things that we need to do if we're going to schedule more fun this season is we need to figure out what our must do's are and what our would be nice to do's, right? Or I think I must do. We need to separate those two, okay? So now that you've got a blank calendar, I want you to open up your existing calendar, and I want you to put in anything that is not movable. Okay, and so anything that is a must do is set in stone and has a concrete time that it must be done. So if you have any work commitments, if there are existing meetings that you have, if you attend church, put your church in there. If you have any existing doctor's appointments or anything like that, put those in there. Okay. And just get that stuff on the calendar. Now, do not add your I think I must do's. Do not add in anything at this point that is flexible, right? So like, for example, like my work schedule is pretty flexible because Jeff and I were both home. We're home with Eric. So I have a lot of flexibility in when I work, right? So Jeff and I could, switch when we're working. I think it's really interesting because one of the things living in Florida is the beaches get really busy on the weekends. And so if we want to go to the beach, we can go to the beach during the week. People are like, well, wait, you have to be at your desk, on Wednesdays. No, I really don't. How about instead I work at my desk on Saturdays, and then fewer of my clients are working, right? It's actually to bother me. I love my clients, but sometimes it's really hard to get work done when they're working. So I would have Saturdays instead that I would work. It's a little bit quieter around here on Saturdays. Maybe that would be a good option, right? And so we make Wednesday a fun day, right? Or maybe you make Monday. If you want to take Sunday and Monday off instead, that'd be okay. But, we don't have to work Monday through Friday. I know it's shocking, isn't it? It's like, wait, I don't have to work during the work week. I can decide when I want that to be. And so because that's flexible, do not put that on your calendar right now. Okay. I really want it to be things that like are hard and fast appointments that cannot be moved. Okay. Now I know something, what about my kids' sports schedule? What about their art classes? What about, at this point, I really want you to sit down. I want you to talk to your kids and ask them, like let the, look at all the things on the schedule and say, do you really want to do all of these? Do you really want to do these things? Because I think a lot of times we confuse must do's with I think I must do's. So must do's for me are things like, going to the dentist on a regular basis, getting your annual physical, it's funny because there aren't a lot of must-dos in my life. There really aren't. Regular hygiene, car maintenance, I guess, would be, a must-do. But I don't know. I'm, trying to find like ways to kind of, find somebody to either come to my house and do it or find an easier way to do that. I don't have a lot of must-dos in my life. I really don't. And part of the reason I'm really hesitant to sign Eric up for things is because we lose a lot of our freedom in doing that, right? So if we have to be at a program at a certain period of time, that's a day that we can't go to Legoland. That's a day that we can't just hang out and swim at home. And that's a day that he can't just sit at home and play with his trains, right? And so I think a lot of times we pack our kids' schedules full of stuff because we think it's the thing that, all good moms do that. And we're not giving our kids just time to be kids. And so that's one thing that I'm really conscious about when I'm scheduling Eric for stuff, because I love having the flexibility to just say, you know what, today we're going to go to the beach, or today we're going to sit by the pool, or today we're just going to play at home. And it's funny, I think a lot of times when you ask your kids, do you really want to be doing the 4 things you're doing? They might say, no, you know what, I really like doing this thing. Can we just do this one thing? Instead of doing 5. Okay. So I'd, really encourage you to listen to your kids, listen to, and sometimes, honestly, sometimes they're not going to verbalize that they're, exhausted, that they're burnt out, but you're going to see it in their behavior. And so, because sometimes our kids think that they must do things because we want them to do them. But if we really talk to them and allow them to make the decision, they might say that they don't want to. Okay. So once you've scheduled all your must-dos, your work commitments, church, existing appointments, and you've really assessed the activities that you're signed up for, that you're doing, now it's time to schedule in some fun. And I know what you're thinking, but like, Kristen, like, you haven't scheduled in your work blocks, you haven't scheduled in your workouts and all these other things. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I'm scheduling fun next. Because I think a lot of us desperately need some fun. Okay, desperately need some fun. And once we get to the stage where we're not burnt out and we're not exhausted and we feel a little bit more refreshed, we can peel back some of the fun time and add in other things. So one thing I think is critically important is that in order to be able to schedule in fun, you need to know what you think is fun. So Greg McKeown, in his book Effortless, which I love this book, like, it literally sits on my desk. If you're not watching the video, I just held it up. Effortless by Greg McKeown. It's in the show notes for episode 60 at smallbizmama.com. He and his wife each did a list of 20 things that they like to do. 20 things that I think they call it, like the joy list. It's like 20 things that bring them joy. And I love this concept because a lot of times, like, okay, we're going to schedule in fun. And then maybe you and your spouse don't have the same idea of fun, or you and your kids don't have the same idea of fun. But I think it's a really good idea to have a list that for each one of you of what you think is fun. And then also maybe have a family list of what is fun for the family to do. And now here's the thing, you're going to need family fun time and you're going to need mama fun time. Okay. And so sometimes mama fun time looks like just reading a book on your own in peace and quiet. It might be, it might be going for a walk. I love going for a walk on my own. It's peaceful, and, it gets me moving. I feel really good when I'm moving. And so I love it. That's one of my favorites. Maybe one of yours is going to the beach or going shopping or, getting a massage. It could be taking a bath, right? Or going swimming on your own without the kids. So figure out what is fun for you. And then I want you to schedule some fun in every day. Every day. It could be as little as 30 minutes a day. Okay. But it's got to be something. It's got to be something for you. Okay. Now you can also have fun with your kids as well, but I'd like you to schedule in 30 minutes of fun just for you every day. And like I said, that could be as simple as like taking 30 minutes, first thing in the morning and reading a book, or maybe at the end of the day and reading a book, or finding some time every single day. Okay. And then also scheduling fun things in with your kids multiple times a week. Okay. And that could be as simple as like playing a game together, right? Or watching a silly movie together, or going to the park together on the way home from school. Like there's lots and lots of different things, but schedule in something that that you can do together as a family. Okay. So it could be a hike on a Thursday afternoon. Okay. What does it look like to have fun as a family? Schedule it in. Okay. Then once you've got your must-dos and you've scheduled in some fun, now add in anything else that's remaining. Okay. And this is again another part where you're going to have to make some compromises. So maybe you can't spend 10 hours a week cleaning your house. Maybe 3 hours a night to make dinner. Not happening. Okay. Maybe you're not going to have 5 hours a day to work or 4 hours a day to work. So then what happens? Okay. So I think a lot of us, we will fill the time we have when we are not intentional about what we want. So I'll tell you, we've gotten pretty good at, and I don't have it in here with me. We've gotten really good at cleaning in small spurts. We've also gotten much better about just trying to clean up after ourselves, as we're going through the day. And we found that has greatly reduced the amount of time it takes to clean our house. Okay. I will do batch cooking and, to make freezer meals. I utilize my crock pot. I utilize my air fryer. I make a plan for what we're going to eat based off of what we're doing every day, which is really helpful. And I've also found that when I have less time to work, I actually get more done. And I know that sounds, kind of counterintuitive, but we will stretch out our schedules to fit the time that we have sitting at our desk. And so I find that when I have very limited time at my desk, I get a lot done. A lot done. Okay. And so I would really encourage you to compromise and see what you can get done in less time so that you can schedule in more fun. And if you need help with this, check out the Mother of All Time courses. You can go to smallbizmama.com/time, okay, and sign up for the Mother of All Time courses, where I'll teach you to save at least 10 hours a week, okay, on just things that, that you're currently doing. And so I give you some of the tips that we use in our home to help get things done faster. All right, so I hope that this episode was helpful. I can't wait to see your schedules and how you're scheduling fun. Let us know, how are you scheduling fun? You can email us at podcast@smallbizmama.com. That's podcast@smallbizmama.com. Or you can hit us up in the Small Biz Mama community on Facebook, facebook.com/groups/smallbizmama. So we're super excited. Make sure you check out our website, Small Biz Mama, for lots of information, lots of episodes. We're on episode 60. I can't even believe that. But lots of great content out there. The show notes will have links to all of the cool things we talked about this week, the books, the planners, all the things, and the Mother of All Time courses. All right, mamas, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Thank you for listening to Small Biz Mama with Kristen Ingram. If you'd like to learn how to create more margin in your life, please visit us at smallbizmama.com. That's smallbizmama.com.